Hello, and welcome to Digital Fuels and NAI Associates' latest webinar titled Service Catalog and Service-Based Budgeting. We have a large crowd on the phone today, so we have placed the phone lines on mute. However, we encourage questions which can be entered at any time via the Q&A feature. You'll find the Q&A feature at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. We'll have a Q&A session at the end of our program for any questions we did not answer during the presentation. Today's event features Mike Paco, Digital Fuel Director of Product Marketing, and Hamid Nouri, President of Nouri Associates. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Mike Paco.
Hello, and welcome to the Digital Fuel and Nouri Associates webinar titled Service Catalog and Service-Based Budgeting. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mike Paco, and I'm responsible for product marketing here at Digital Fuel. So today's discussion, we're going to dive into a topic that is a big challenge within many organizations. How do I deliver high-quality IT services, plan realistic budgets while meeting business expectations? Well, luckily for us today, to address this topic, we have a special speaker, Hamid Nouri, a managing principal and co-founder of Nouri Associates, who has over 28 years of IT industry and 18 years of IT service management and consulting experience. His expertise is across ITIL, service management, and really is in a great position to help you with this topic. So after Hamid's presentation, I will go through some examples of how Digital Fuel's customers are able to make this a reality. So as a reminder, as we move through today's discussion, please submit your questions in the Q&A box in the right-hand corner of your screen, and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Hamid Nouri.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning. And our topic for today's webinar will be a kind of a journey through the topic of services and service catalog and how they can be the foundation for some of your service management initiatives and activities within the organization. Let me start by speaking to the agenda briefly. We'll start with talking about the typical interaction that we see today between the customers of IT and the IT management team. And this has been probably going on for many years, and things have not changed much. And I want to comment on that at some degree today. Then from there, we'll talk about the concept of a service as it's defined by the latest best practices by version 3 of ITIL, Infrastructure Library. And then going to the discussions of a service portfolio and a service catalog, the meaning and context of those specific items, and then best practices around designing a service catalog, and then link that to the idea of appropriate financial and business planning, and discuss an actual maturity model that speaks to an organization's capability to address some of the issues that we'll talk about at the beginning of this discussion, and from there bring the whole discussion together through linking it to the service level management process and the overall interactions with the customer of IT. And at that point, I'll conclude, and Mike will actually walk us through a series of discussions around how some of these ideas and practices can best be automated and represented in technologies that are available today, specifically from Digital Fuel. What we hope to leave you with today is, number one, why starting with and having a well-developed service catalog is fundamentally the foundation for achieving some of your goals around alignment and integration with the business. That's been a common topic and a high priority for many organizations over the last probably 8 to 10 years, and we'll try to get at the depth of that particular issue today. The second is to talk about specifically how to go about developing an effective service catalog and how the different views affect how we actually go about the development process itself, and speak specifically to the different audiences, stakeholders from a customer and end user point of view, as well as our internal IT team. And then from there, we'll try to go ahead and speak to the financial and business planning aspects of service management and how they influence the relationship with the customer, and how you can actually evaluate your current capabilities within the organization with respect to financial planning using a model that I'll refer to, which is the full cost maturity model. From there, we'll of course get into the specifics of technology automation opportunities from Digital Fuel. So this is a discussion that's been around for quite a long time, and I hear it quite often interacting with many clients. And here's the typical scenario. We know that there's fat in your budget. You need to do more with less. Here's your last year budget minus 5 or 10% this year. This is maybe more true this year than others as we are hitting a more tighter, let's say, economy and a recession outlook, which has many companies more worried about how money is spent and preparing themselves for potentially a few quarters of slow or flat growth. Another one is common. It's your problem to find the resources and do all that I need to do. And it's your problem or it's your fault that I'm not achieving my goal. That's another common one. Because IT has the budget, business is dependent on IT, and therefore I need you to do everything that I need you to do to achieve my objectives. That's the second one. Here's another unfunded mandate. Do the best you can. So this is common when we're talking about regulatory compliance or anything that is thrown at the business as they're trying to figure out the best way to compete in their respective industries. And of course, many of those are not always funded properly, and they become an issue to be dealt with from an IT perspective. And the final one, the concern or the complaint about allocation being too big and the fact that they're being overcharged. And let's look at outsourcing the function. So these are common issues that I've actually been personally exposed to both in a management role within Fortune 1000 companies as well as a consultant working with many clients. And these issues tend to be repeating themselves over and over for many organizations. So the question is, what is at the core of this issue? What is the problem? Is it that we don't have sufficient budgets? The answer is no. The fact is that if you double your budget in IT, you will probably have the same set of issues, but at a larger scale. Is it people attitude or motivation that's causing this? Is it our IT staff not wanting to do and do what it takes? My experience is that most IT organizations that I've ever run across, they're already working very hard. As a matter of fact, they're working after hours, coming in midnight and later, and they're sacrificing many times their training time just to keep up. And many times they can't in general. Also, skills is not the key driver here. I've found many organizations spend a lot of money on time management, project management, and others, and what they find still is that the user demand continues to exceed supply. And finally, is it an issue that we have that there's too much demand for IT? And the answer is, well, that's always been the case. We've always had our resources or our demand outstrip our supply of resources. And this has always been true, and it always will be true. So the real issue that I want to highlight here is the fact that the problem that we are experiencing is a result of our traditional methods of business planning, financial planning, budgeting, allocation, and rate setting. And I will present to you the reason that is the case as we go through this discussion. The next chart speaks to the specific research that's been done by EMA Research in the latest year. And specifically, what we find, the top three issues continue to be aligning IT with the business, improving IT service quality, and reducing IT costs. These three, of course, have been on the top 5 list for the last 5 to 8 years, and they continue to be the top priority for many CIOs around the world. Another trend that we can also speak to and observe is the fact that approach to IT management is evolving in many organizations, and there are many who are starting to demonstrate and report success. And here is the common characteristics of those specific evolution that you see. Number one, the organizations are starting to move away from a technology focus and starting to build their capabilities around the customer, ensuring that everything is focused on the needs and the demands of the customer. The second, everyone is trying to move away from firefighting and dispatching heroes to deal with problems every day to becoming more proactive and preventative. Doing it right the first time is becoming a commonly accepted approach to doing what it takes to run IT properly. The third is starting to move from fixed budgets towards more of a demand-driven budget based on what we see as business opportunities. Getting there is very, very difficult, but that is in essence the intent that we see from many organizations that are practicing best practices.